When you look at the Atlanta Hawks, it's no question that for the past 3 years, the team has been suffering. The team has been doing terrible. The franchise has been going down in terms of wins and losses. But if you look at the Atlanta Hawks roster, it's no question that the talent is there. The talent is there for the Atlanta Hawks to make the playoffs, to make a push. We're not talking championship yet. That's way out the window. That's far off. Don't get ahead of yourselves. But we're talking about playoffs. There's no question with Trae Young leading the helms that this Atlanta Hawks team should not make the playoffs next year. There's no question about it. Looking at the roster, they made a huge signing in Rajon Rondo. Now, when you sign a guy like Rondo, it's not foreseeably just for the on-court play. You're signing Rondo for his veteran leadership, his veteran presence. You already have a star point guard in the making already. All-star caliber talent point guard in Trae Young. That's on record already. When you add Rondo to the mix now, you have decision-making, you have coaching, you have off-the-court coaching, locker room coaching. We're talking about mentorship. Rajon Rondo is a champion already. Boston Celtics, Lakers, and he's put in work for those championships. There was nothing given to him. Rajon Rondo earned that championship that he got with both teams. Going forward now, this is the year Trae Young, for me, has got to show out. We're not talking about his on-court ability in terms of his dazzlement, scoring ability, assist. This guy could pass. That's on record. Trae Young could pass, but we're not talking about all of that. We're talking about winning games now and being mature enough to take your team to a playoff seed, to eventually get to an Eastern Conference Finals. Championship is great to have championship aspirations. We know that. But as a Hawks player, and looking at this roster is ready for the playoffs this year. Next year coming up. This roster is ready for the playoffs. Look at the signings now. The Rajon Rondo signing, I get that. That was mentorship. That's not always just to be on the court playing and killing. Rondo's going to do his thing regular season, coming off the bench. They might even run sets with him and Trae Young on the court because Rondo's not a shooter. You know that. He's going to be a point guard. He's going to dish and pass. Trae Young is still a point guard at that too. His passing ability is underrated. Everybody thinks Trae Young just goes out there and shoot. No. He's a flashy He's a flashy passer, of course. He has a lot of dazzle with his passing, but his passing, you can see the court vision, you see? You can see he sees everybody on the court. He's not out there just to pass the pass. He's hitting you off in the spots that you need the ball, and that's what you want from a point guard. So when he has that passing ability and his shooting ability, which is off the charts, we're talking Lillard style, pulling up from the logo, pulling up from anywhere, putting it through your legs, step backs, his shot is crazy. Going forward, we get that now. Now, would you look at the other signings between Danilo Galinari, another veteran presence, another scorer, another offensive threat? Gallinari still got game. My only problem with Gallinari is injuries, but that's everyone. We always got to worry about injuries. But if Gallinari's healthy, that's a flat-out scorer. Whether it be the shot, whether he posts you up, he's a big guy. You know, small forward, power forward-ish, but he can score with the best of them. That's on record. Now, the rest of the roster, Clint Capela, I love Capela, always love Capela. To me, the Houston Rockets should have never got rid of Capela. I love Capela. He's an alley-oop machine. He's a defensive player. He's a rebound specialist. You know, Capela is solid. I don't have to run sets for Capela. I love a player like that. Any player where I don't have to worry about you in terms of incorporating you in my offense because I got other dudes for that, and you're fine with that and you accept that role, you could play for me any day. Any big man in the league that says, I want to rebound, block shots, and play defense, where, hey, I score. Alley-oops. You can't go wrong with that. And when you got Trae Young and Rajon Rondo, you don't think Capela's going to eat. John Collins is going to eat. Like, these dudes are alley-oop machines, monsters. Look at the roster. And I'm going to go off the roster real quick. Cam Reddish. Now, he's had a coming out party, but he's somebody that might be coming up later. He has to find his own way. When he was in college, he was playing with some of the best on his team already. That's tough to follow. Sometimes it's better for a guy to go on his own team, find his own path. That's why I'm not always with this teaming up. Everybody wants to team up and join forces. In the NBA, you got to make a name for yourself. You see, everything you did in college, that was college. Everything you did in high school, that was high school. Yes, those were your accolades that led you and got you to the NBA. But now you got to be your own man. Now you got to come of age. You are playing with a bunch of stars around you that all got the gift of gab. Everywhere you look, that guy could shoot, that guy could dunk, that guy got handle, that guy's athletic. They all fit the same caliber, fit the same bill as you. Now you got to exclude yourself. You got to evaluate yourself and put yourself upon the upper echelon and separate yourself. That's going to come with maturity and time. With veterans on the team, there's no question Cam Reddish will eventually elevate his game to be that kind of guy alongside Trae Young. Going forward now, they signed Jeff Teague back to the Hawks. No, they didn't sign. Excuse me, that was bad. They put him back with the Celtics, but they lost Jeff Teague. Kevin Hooter. I'm saying his name wrong. Definitely, I'm saying his ring wrong. Kevin Hooter is another guy that I think is undervalued. A lot of people don't know about him because, Atlanta Hawks games aren't televised like that. They're a little bit more televised due to Trae Young, but you kind of got to catch clips. You got to catch highlights in order to see some Atlanta Hawks stuff. But Kevin Hooter is a baller. He's a shooter. He's a playmaker. He can put the ball on the floor. He's not just one of them white boys that just sit in the corner and wait for you to catch the ball and shoot. This boy could play. Kevin Hooter could play. DeAndre Hunter, Onyeka, the dude they drafted, who's has a lot of energy, who's tough. I like going forward. I like John Collins. I don't know if they're gonna be able to keep him. I'm not sure what's going on because there's a lot of rumblings talking between John Collins, because he plays the big man role, power forward. He could play a little bit, center if they play small ball. But between John Collins and Onyeka, excuse my name for saying it wrong, that's a lot of minutes between the power forward center, Clint Capela. So how are you gonna space that out? But there's no question. If you look at the Eastern Conference standings from last year, there's a lot of mix-ups. If you look at the Bucks, yes, they signed Drew Holiday, but Bogdan is not on deck for them just yet. And Bogdanovic, if the Atlanta Hawks land Bogdanovic, he just signed the offer sheet for damn near $72 million or maybe more than that. I could have the numbers wrong. But if the Atlanta Hawks could sign Bogdanovic, that separates them again now. You're putting them up again. You're making sure that this team is playoff ready. Now, if they can't make the playoffs and they do sign Bogdanovic, with all the other rest of the gimmicks that they got and Rajon Rondo, there's a problem in that organization. We got to look at the coaching now if they can't make the playoffs, because when you look at the roster and these pickups, this team is solid now. We're not talking about the bottom of the barrel no more. We're not talking about a 14, 15 seed. We're talking about a legit playoff contender. If you look at the Miami Heat last year, they shocked the world. Besides Heat fans, nobody had the Miami Heat going on as far as they did. Everybody had the Bucks with the Clippers or the Bucks with the Lakers. That's what they had going forward. And the Miami Heat showed out. The Miami Heat said, you know what? We got Bam Adebayo. We got Jimmy Butler. We got Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. Some of these guys you ain't even heard of like that. Jay Crowders, but they putting in work. We got a team unity here. That's what the Hawks got to do. Trae Young has got to establish team unity, and they got to trust him, because if they don't trust Trae Young as the point guard, the team won't go far. You have to be able to trust your point guard. Rondo will be able to instill some trust in that team. He's going to talk to that team. They got to respect him. They will respect the Rondo. He's a champion. But it's about Trae Young. Everything's going to go around Trae Young. You can add this piece and that piece and put this piece around, but he's got to limit turnovers. He's going to have to play even smarter this year, and he's going to have to be an assassin. Trae Young is going to have to be an assassin this year. There's no question in my mind that the Hawks are playoff ready this year. The Hawks are a standard playoff team. I'm not talking championship. I'm not jumping out the window like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about playoff team. 1 through 8, however you want to fit it, however you want to sit it. But very key for them to make the playoffs this year is the Bogdanovic signing. If the Kings don't match that offer sheet, I like their chances. I like the Hawks' chances next year. Look to expect a lot more from Trae Young. We got to hold him accountable. You know what I'm saying? Because Trae Young now is getting his years in now. That's 2 or 3 years in the league now. So we're going to have to hold him accountable. We're keeping him up there with the Lillards, with the Jamal Murrays, with all these top-tier point guards. If you're starting in the league now, accountability is now your name. This is Mr. Purple Zero, and I'm a holler.